Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we're going to talk about pod number 3 or your part number 5 in terms of your GitHub page. So we are going to execute the pod 3, which is going to have a shared data. Now, how the shared data is going to work is like, let's just say, for example, you have 2 containers within a pod. So let's just example that we are all talking about single pod right now. We're not talking about multiple pods at this moment because we are deploying a pod, which means that that could be only one pod. And in this example, we are creating 2 containers in a pod. So when you are talking about 2 containers in a pod, okay, do remember one thing. I just want to tell you this before I go ahead further. Do remember that we are talking about a single pod so far, okay, which means that you will have them deployed on either worker 1 or worker 2. Okay, so when you deploy a single pod, it cannot deploy one container on worker 1 and one container on worker 2. Okay, that's not going to be happening. That's not possible at all, because a pod can only deploy in a particular worker file. When you're doing a deployment with replicas, that replica can create pods, multiple pods, which can be deployed across worker 1 and worker 2. That's the real clustering feature. Okay, so we are not talking about the clustering feature at all in this example. Okay, so I wanted to clear this off before I proceed further, because I don't want to confuse you, and I know it kind of confuses when you're new to this all this pods and container stuff. So when a pod, if you have multiple containers under it, wherever the pod is deployed, like worker 1 or worker 2, both the containers will be spinning up on that particular node only. It will not be using another node at all. That's how, or that's why it shares a network, right? And that's why we are going to also share the data between them. Okay, so in this empty directory deployment, we are going to share a particular volume which is going to be reflecting on both these containers within the pod, which means that the folder which is going to be there, right, it's going to be common, and it's going to be within that same worker directory, worker server directory. Okay, so var lib kubelet. So we will see that in the hands-on, but I want you to make sure that this is clear for you before we go ahead. If you have any questions, you can always put it on the question section. I will, whenever I'm available, I will clear it out. So here in this manifest, as you can see, we have the kind pod, the name of the pod, and you have the first container definition, or the name of the first container, Nginx container, images Nginx, and what we are trying to mount is shared data, and it is mounted on the default Nginx home path. The second container is an operating system container. It's going to contain only operating system, which is going to sleep for 3600 seconds. And we are mounting the same shared data. Shared data is the volume name. We are same shared data is mounted on this /data folder. Now, in terms of volume definition, we have the name of the volume definition is shared data, and that's on an empty directory. So you're going to see that this particular shared data, which is going to be a var lib kube pod name volume, right? So that particular volume is going to be shared between 2 containers, and both, if I update this, if I log into this container and update something on this one, you will see that data populating here as well, and you will see the data populating in your var lib kubelet as well on the host, wherever the worker 1 or worker 2 host directory is there. That is the whole agenda for this particular video, where we are going to share a specific volume between both the pods. Both the containers which is running in the single pod. Thank you again. I'll see you on the lab section.